Hi, this is Misha, and in this video we're going to be looking at civilian, or rather transport, freighter cargo versions in the Klingon fleet. And to that end, we have Goros military transport from Enterprise. We've got the D5, which not only had a battlecruiser version, but also had a deuterium tanker version that actually we saw first, believe it or not. Then we have the ever-present Merchantman, which was used as a Klingon civilian transport. And then finally, we have the Perm battle cruiser, which was used in one episode of Deep Space Nine as another Klingon kind of just generic ship. So yeah. Goros transport from Enterprise is pretty unique shape. It's distinctly Klingon, thanks to the coloring and markings, but of course far less aggressive and bulkier looking for being a transport. Now, originally this design was created to be a Klingon shuttle for the pilot episode of Enterprise, but it really wasn't used for that. So it was repurposed, the model, and scaled up for Season 2. And there we have it. There is some debate about the size of this critter, so I can't really tell you for sure how big it is. It's not massive, but it's also much larger than a shuttle. Pretty much just a generic 22nd century Klingon ship for transport and all that. And since these are Klingons we're talking about, they like keeping their designs in service forever. This could have been in service a very long time. The Eagle Moss model itself is surprisingly cool. It is mostly metal, quite large, and quite weighty. Kind of a pleasant surprise, and it's always nice to have a Klingon civilian ship. Or not civilian, I keep saying that, but you know, transport type, you know what I mean. Next up, we have the D5, first seen in Marauders, and actually it was seen as the deuterium tanker variant before it was seen as the battle cruiser variant. Now, to be fair, the Eagle Moss model here is the battle cruiser variant, as it has the turreted disruptor cannon on the underside. The deuterium version was a little smaller at 155 meters, and it had a much smaller crew of around a dozen, and it had 8 deuterium tanks. They could hold about 10,000 liters each. It still had armaments, but was significantly weaker than the battlecruiser variant. For more on it, check out we actually have a D5 video, so not really going to talk much about it. Just going to mention that there was a transport variant of it. Moving on, yet again, we have the Merchantman. Once this model came in, I was able to actually do several videos, because many races have used it. And it's quite an impressive Eagle Moss model at that. For the Klingons, this was a civilian transport, it said in the dialogue. And it was just this model here, except painted or tinted green. And in the episode, it had a crew of 440. But they don't say length, so I guess we have to kind of assume that it's still 150 meters. Which means they were really cramming them in, but these are Klingons we're talking about. They did cram in. Now, we did also see it with a cloaking device. So that's another change that the Klingons added. And this was the one that Worf destroyed by accident and went on trial for and was framed and all of that. But yeah, a green version of this was a Klingon civilian transport. And finally, an interesting one. Now, I've got a separate video on this as the Perm battle cruiser, so check that out if you like. And I was thinking, well, it looks Klingon, which is funny because it's not even originally designed for Star Trek. It was originally from Night of the Creeps film, and obtained by the Star Trek folks for Next Generation. But then in Deep Space Nine, they took this model and again painted or shaded it green. And it was a Klingon transport, or could have potentially been an older battle cruiser, because it was the one that Nogra arrived on Deep Space Nine in. And his house was relatively small and poor, but respected. So it could have potentially been an outdated, obsolescent battleship turned into more of a house transport. Totally speculating here. But it fits in with the Klingon design aesthetic very well. Got the bridge module up here, the raised rear, and things that look like kind of curvy nacelles or engines on the side. It looked to be quite large in the episode. Probably the largest of the ships we have here. At least 600 meters. Although it's very thin. So even though it would have been large, internal space might have been a little less than expected. Who knows? No one really knows a name. It's just unknown Klingon ship type. But since I like this model, and I think it fits in well with Klingon ships, I figured I'd just include it here. Of course, of these four, only the military transport from Enterprise is truly Klingon. Civilian. This is close. A skilled model maker could take this D5 and make it into the deuterium version. Same goes for the Merchantman, if someone got one of these and painted it green. they'd be set, and same for this. So the other ones could be modified to be exactly right, but I figured it'd give a good idea. So yeah, not everything the Klingons do is, strictly speaking, warship, cruiser, whatever, battle cruiser. They have to transport people and passengers and freight and cargo like any other race. We've seen other Klingon ships besides, but they're not in the Eagle Moss collection, not yet anyway. I hope they at least do either the Klingon freighter or the Grumal, the Cardassian. That would be a neat one for them to do. I also wouldn't mind seeing the Rebel transport from Enterprise. Or heck, even a deuterium variant of the D5. I mean, we've got 3 or 4 Miranda variants already, and another one coming in a few months, so yeah, with all the different Mirandas, I don't have a problem having a tanker variant of the Klingon D5. And all of these models are very cool. I really like the Permillion. It's probably my favorite out of these. It's mostly metal. It's just interesting. But the other ones do not at all disappoint. Well, I've been doing videos on the civilian ships, so figured I'd give Klingons their due. Have one on Cardassian, and quite a long one on Human Earth Federation. So you might check that out if you like. Speaking of, please like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to comment below. Well, this is Misha. And do please tune in again next time. And I will catch you then.